let's talk about that. That's fun. He says Sanders slams Biden for over a year and then endorses him. That is what Bernie Sanders did, didn't he? And you can see all the progressives, Crystal Ball, she's a wonderful lady, smart girl. Jimmy Dore, really funny guy, good guy. Kyle Kalinske, he's okay. They're all upset, all these progressives. Oh my goodness, Bernie Sanders has nothing in common. I mean, you look at the track record of Biden and the track record of Bernie Sanders, they're nothing alike. Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders have more in common than Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. And all these progressives are just so disappointed and so surprised that Bernie Sanders would do that. And to them I say, what did you think was going to happen? He did the exact same thing in 2016. I fell for it in 2016. I learned real quick. This guy's a phony. I thought he was an outsider who was going to break up the political establishment, but he raised $200 million and then funneled his email list, his text phone data, all his support base. He funneled it into Hillary's campaign and said, vote for her, and ran around the country like a little dog saying, vote for Hillary. And then when she didn't win, he blamed his own supporters and said, oh, you must have been influenced by Russian Facebook ads that reached like 20 people with Bill O'Reilly ads. Like, oh, wow, 10 shares. I get 10 shares, the first 5 seconds I post something. They spent $1 million and reached like half of what I do in a week. It was completely irrelevant, and there were both sides of the equation. It wasn't like all Trump ads. There were Trump ads, there were Bernie Sanders coloring books, there were Black Lives Matter protests. It was never a Trump-Russia collusion. It was a Russian advertising team probably trying to make money off the election and how, goofy, see if they could stir up chaos. So Bernie lied about that. Then Bernie Sanders lied about Russiagate. He said, Trump, Russia, racism, sexism, xenophobia, Russia collusion. Kyle Kalinske knew it was a lie. Jimmy Dore knew it was a lie. Glenn Greenwald knew it was a lie. Good guy. They all knew it was a lie, and Bernie Sanders lied. And then they still turned around in 2020 and acted like Bernie Sanders wasn't going to do it again. He lied to them about the media. He lied to them about Russiagate. He lied to them in 2016. He did absolutely nothing. And then they fell for the same exact trap again and said, no, let's give hundreds of millions of dollars to Bernie Sanders again. He's going to fight Joe Biden. And in January and in February and in March and in 2018 and 2019 and 2020, I said, Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball, Glenn Greenwald, these big progressive leaders who everybody follows on social media, I said, guys, Bernie's going to do the same exact thing in 2020. How is it not obvious? That's his job. He's not fighting Joe Biden. He's not trying to expose his corruption. He's barely saying anything. You're saying more than he is. He's just going to pretend like he's fighting him, and then he's going to take all that money, all those email lists, all those endorsements, all that power that he just achieved, and funnel all its resources into Joe Biden. And they said, Bernie's going to do it. He's going to do it this time. And what did he do? The exact same thing he did in 2016. So it's not even his fault. I mean, he's a loser and a con artist and a liar. Stop lying to your audience. Stop pretending like he wasn't going to do that. We all knew it was going to happen. Every sign of it was happening. He's a lapdog for the establishment. He's a funnel, a progressive funnel, to tell you he's fighting these people and funnel you back to the Bush, Obama, Clinton power structure, the political establishment that Bernie Sanders claimed he was going to fight, and tell you all to vote for him. He looks so uncomfortable. He looks like he's got ants in his pants and bed bugs all over his body. I endorse you, Joe Biden. Yeah, he knows. He knows he's a coward. He knows he's the biggest sneak of the 21st century to his supporters. He stabbed you in the back in 2016, and then you said, thank you, Bernie Sanders, for this knife in my back. Maybe I could cut pickles with it. And then he stabbed you in the back in 2020 again. When are you going to learn? You guys are the DNC doormat. You're the doormat for the DNC. They're like, Bernie doesn't even respect his own supporters. The DNC doesn't respect us. Of course they don't, because you don't even respect yourself enough to stand up for yourself. And this goes to conservatives too, who just get walked all over by Republicans all the time. Free speech, H-1B visas, $1 trillion bills. Oh, yeah. And then they wonder why it keeps happening. Why can't we win? How come nothing's happening? Because you accept that. So don't be a doormat. That goes to both sides, but especially Bernie supporters. How are these people surprised? And I feel sorry for anybody who listens to them for political advice and feels broken and disappointed. you shouldn't be disappointed about something we all saw coming. Bernie Sanders was never who you thought he was. He's not fighting the political establishment. He's funneling progressives to be a PR team for the political establishment. And if you call out their corruption, if you call out their hypocrisy, if you call out their lies, if you try to do actual socialist progressive stuffs, they're going to call you a Russian. They're going to call you racist, sexist, and xenophobic, just like Bernie falsely smears Trump as. Bernie Sanders 10 years ago was against H-1B visas because he knew it undercut the American worker.
I believe we have very serious immigration problems in this country. I think, as you've heard today, sanctions against employers who hire illegal immigrants is virtually non-existent. Our border is very porous, and I think we need a path to citizenship, which I think this bill addresses in a significant way. My main concern about this bill is what it will do in terms of driving wages down, not only for low-wage workers, but for professional, skilled workers as well. And I think at a time when the middle class is shrinking, the last thing we need is to bring over a period of years millions of people into this country who are prepared to lower wages for American workers. I think it's a bad idea.
Because he was an America socialist, America first socialist who cared about this country. Now Bernie is nothing but a snake, a con artist, a liar, and you should stop listening to these people with massive audiences who tell you he isn't going to do that. Are you going to give him $200 million again in 2024? I'm not trying to be mean, but let's get it together, guys. How many times are you going to do that? So that's my message to progressives. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for listening to, bright people like Glenn Greenwald, Crystal Ball, Jimmy Dore. They're fantastic. I think they're leagues ahead of these Democrats, but they're a little naive. They're a little foolish. They're a little weak. And unless you want to keep getting walked all over and disappointed, you got to really assess what's going on and be like, why do I keep making the same mistake? Why does this keep happening? And a lot of it roots from, although they're good on foreign policy, they're good on corruption. They do a great job calling out conservatives. They do a great job calling out the Democratic media. But a lot of their other ideas are backwards. So if you live in a backwards reality, you're going to get backwards results. So you got to really identify what's going on and ask yourself, is giving the health industry to the federal government going to solve the health industry? No. It's not. It's not going to, it doesn't mean everyone's going to be healthy. Ilhan Omar tweets it. She's like, healthcare is a human right. The word healthcare doesn't literally mean they're taking care of your health. It means health insurance. And healthcare as a human right means they're going to give the entire health industry that's already massively corrupt and terrible into the hands of the federal government, who's not going to clean it up and make it better. Now they're going to control it. There's going to be less options. Everyone's going to have it. Everyone's going to be forced to pay for it. It's not going to translate to better health in human beings. It's just not. So you can package this as what you want, but the big things that you guys cling on to are lies. So you're going to get leaders who are liars like Bernie Sanders, and then you're going to get people who aren't liars like Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kalinske, and Glenn Greenwald and Crystal Ball, who are nice, smart people who mean the best for you, and they're going to be confused. But they shouldn't be confused because everybody saw this coming except for progressives. So you guys really got to think about this stuff, because if you give Bernie Sanders your money again in 2024 so he can endorse Elizabeth Warren or Pete Buttigieg and pull this fake WWE stunt like he's really trying to fight him, Bernie is not trying to expose the political establishment. Bernie Sanders is a cover-up PR agent for the establishment. He's going to cover for every bad thing they've done over the last 20 years. He's going to blame it all on racism, sexism, and xenophobic, and then he's going to act like he's confused when he gets called racist, sexist, and xenophobic falsely, because the whole idea of calling everything racist, sexist, and xenophobic, including things that he used to support, is a trap. Political correctness is a lie. Being overly sensitive about this stuff is the trap. It is the divide. It is the goal of the political establishment.